जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद श्री श्री राधा माधव भगवान की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय समस्त भक्त बिंद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त बिंद की जय दाय गौत मंदिर हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। Today we are going to study the second of the Chatushloka in Bhagavad Gita, that is the ninth verse of 10th chapter. We already have covered the eighth verse in the last session. So today we are going to cover the ninth one. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen. So, Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the verse is Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantah Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Would you like to chant, Mataji?
Yes, sure, Prabhuji. But actually, your screen is not shared yet. So,
Oh,
should I?
really? Let me share. It's not
Okay.
sure. Sorry. Okay.
Um, it is not yet coming. Mm, There's
Maybe.
a there's a problem at my end. I think it is getting hang. The screen is getting freeze.
So if you're not able to see the screen, maybe you can read at your
I'll open from mobile section only.
till that time. I'll chant again. Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantah Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha.
Matchitta matkata
His voice is breaking actually. Okay, I'm not able to hear. Yeah, that's fine then. We'll move ahead. So the translation is the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So then we'll go to purport and we'll discuss together. Okay? Now we'll do Mangacharan. Om Ajjanan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Gurupa Kadamayyam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधकांत नमस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नितिनमिने नमस्ते सारस्वतदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हरे कृष्ण
Hare
so
Krishna Prabhuji. Is my
Correct.
video and audio visible?
Yes, now it is okay.
Okay, I've
Okay.
joined from phone. Just
Okay.
crashing the Zoom app. Zoom app.
Hmm. Okay, fine. So now we discussed that Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita starts from the 8th verse of 10th chapter, and we discussed that in the area, Vedic knowledge, there are three aspects: Sambandha, Avidaya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is the relationship with Lord, relationship of living entity with Lord. That is called Sambandha. And the first verse, the 8th verse, is about Sambandha. Then once we know, as it is mentioned, everything comes from me, I am the source of everything, that way we understand the Sambandha, the relationship. Then comes Avideya. Avidya means the activities we perform after we know our relationship with Lord. That is called Avidya. So this particular verse is about Avidya. How we understand? It is mentioned here, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. So they remember. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. They engage in service of Lord in a dedicated way. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from all is enlightening one another and conversing about me. So that's what they do. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam. They do all these activities. And then there are other activities also which follow, like Archanam, Bandhanam, all those things. So devotees do all those things, right? So these are the activities one performs after knowing that relationship. So this is Avidya. And then comes Prayojana, which we'll see in the following two verses when we'll discuss those. Now, pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in transcendental loving service of the Lord. As Prabhupada would say, that you should get engaged in the service of Lord 24 hours a day. Means Maya is very strong. Any time we give some leg room, Maya will grab us. কৃষ্ণ ছাড়িয়া যে ভোগ বাঞ্ছা করে निकटस्थ माया तारे झपटिया धरे कृष्ण सूर्य समान माया है अंधकार जहां कृष्ण तहा नहीं मायर अधिकार so krishna is like sun and maya is like darkness where krishna is there there is no place for maya so that is the case so devotees are engaged in loving devotional service of krishna and because of that based on or proportionate to the intensity of their sadhana intensity of their absorption they don't feel the disturbance in this material world. They don't get affected. If we talk about Prahlad Maharaj, he was tortured many different ways we discussed during Narasimha Chaturdashi. But he was not affected by that because he was always absorbed in thinking about Krishna. And because of that, he didn't feel so much of pain. It works like anesthesia. It's anesthesia, it's like a mundane way of saying it, just to give some idea. Krishna consciousness can relieve us from many pains in a big way. And if you're serious enough, then it's in a permanent way, it can remove all those pains. That's the value of Krishna consciousness. So, devotees won't like to divert their mind. There was a pujari somewhere in US, I think San Diego, somewhere. I don't recall exactly the place. And the pujari was always engaged every day. And before coming to Krishna consciousness, he was a surfer. He used to do the wave surfing. So, the old habits keep on coming back to us, right? So then one day he thought, okay, I want to take a break and go there. So he took a break and went to surf. So as he was surfing, he got excited. He went a little bit deeper into the ocean. I think most likely the Pacific Ocean. Now, he all of a sudden he saw there is a shark. As soon as he saw the shark, he was, you know, kind of disturbed very much, and then he was trying to swim back towards the shore. But the shark was faster and faster, so he was swimming very fast. But then he was not able to succeed. And then he started, praying to Lord, please, please save me or something. But still the shark was coming closer. Then he finally realized that what was his problem. Today is the first day after a long time he came, and he actually abandoned Lord's service. Hmm. He came here to enjoy independently. So then he raised his hand, prayed to Lord Narasimhadev and said, after today, I'm never ever going to do this mistake again, that, leave your service and all. So he was in a very, very honest way. He was praying. And then the shark turned and left. After that, he came back to the temple, confessed in front of temple president and all, and he never left his service. He was very regular in his service to Krishna, like that. So their minds, so the devotees would like to always engage in devotional service, and if they miss out, sooner or the later they come to know and they repent of that. Because Jiver Sarupai Krishna Nityadas. This is our eternal identity, that we are eternal servant of Krishna. Therefore, we should always engage in loving devotional service of Krishna. Their mind cannot be diverted from lotus feet of Krishna. Their all is fixed. That is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Ek hi kuru nandana. Bahu sakhai anantasya buddhaya avyavasayinam. So those who don't have single pointed consciousness, their intelligence are multi-branched. They cannot focus their mind on Krishna. Their talks are solely, now the devotees' talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. They don't want to discuss anything other than Krishna. The symptoms of pure devotees are described in the verse specifically. Devotees of Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Why to do so? Is it tiring? No, for the pure devotees, it's not tiring. Rather, they enjoy a lot by constantly discussing about Lord. We may not be in a proper mindset. That's why we may not be able to appreciate that, because we are very much conditioned. But even in that conditioned state, when you leave out other uh, responsibilities of conditioned life. For example, let's say we go to Vrindavan and we go for Govardhan Parikrama. Then it will take 5.5 to 6 hours and all, even more with breaks. Then we can keep on talking about Krishna or keep on chanting all those things. For a long time, we can keep on chanting and hearing, and we won't feel that tiredness. The tiredness will be taken away because we are talking about Krishna. The devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Nama Rupa Guna Lila. It starts with name. Then what's his form? Nama, Rupa, Guna. What are his qualities? And Lila, his pastimes. His pastimes are very sweet. With all of those, he gives pleasure to the devotees. So in preliminary stage of devotional service, they just a second. They relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. So it is like the example given in the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Aruruksha, Yogarura, Jogaruksha. So when somebody is in the premature state, then they need to go through proper means, they need to progress. But once they are in the advanced stage, then those means are not required. So in the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. So when somebody in the mature stage, they're already in love of God, they don't have to necessarily follow each and every regulated service. They're already in love of God. They'll kind of become abhaduta kind of person. They're already in love of God. Ordinary rules and regulations won't apply for them. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in his abode. They can understand, they can relish the highest transcendental bliss, highest transcendental perfection. They can relish that. For that, they need to be situated in that transcendental position. They need to be purified to that level. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of seed in the heart of the living entity. So it is like sowing the seed in the heart, the seed of devotional service. Then how that seed is sowed in the heart of the devotee? As it is mentioned, Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhaka Munay Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodaya. Shravanadi, by hearing and other process, we need to awaken that Krishna consciousness that is there within our heart. The Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodaya. Through the process of hearing, we should um, enliven and enlighten ourselves and others. But basically, when bhakti, how bhakti comes? Bhakti comes from the bhakta, from another person. Now, whether you talk about the seed is there already in our heart or seed is given by somebody else, there are different ways of looking at it. But if the seed is already there in our heart, then why you are not devotee to begin with? It is the person, another devotee, who speaks about Krishna. He speaks about Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, all those. That creates interest within us, and we engage in devotional service in due course of time. So it starts from hearing, and then the subsequent activities happen. So once one hears, then the seed gets it sprouts. That seed sprouts. So that's the way it is. Even though that seed is there within the heart, it is in inactive state. When um, the association comes, then that seed sprouts. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them, there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. ब्रह्मांड भ्रमित कुनो भाग्यवान जीव Guru Krishna prasade पाए bhakti lata beach. So it is said that in every lifetime we get parents, father, mother, but we are very fortunate in the birth in which we get blessings from Guru. So therefore, Guru is very important in our life. Hmm? And for that, we need to get association of devotees. As it is said, A, B, C, D. A stands for association, B stands for book, C stands for chanting, and D stands for diet also. So we need to, for Krishna consciousness starts from association. So we need to get the association of devotees because the devotion within our heart comes from the devotion of another devotee. This devotion service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So one should keep on chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then what happens? That seed fructifies. Just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. So regular watering through the process of hearing and chanting. Once we keep on doing that, then the seed fructifies. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahmajyoti. So mm, the sprout which came out of the seed is offered uh, water in terms of hearing and chanting. So through that process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this tree also fructifies eventually. And it grows basically. Initially, it grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti effulges in the spiritual sky. So one who is looking for going to Goloka, they have that capacity that they can enjoy anything anywhere from material level. Because even the mukti comes with folded hand in front of them. But they see mukti is insignificant. So they are not bothered about that. So um, then this seed actually grows, and this bhakti lata that penetrates the covering of material universe and enters into Brahmajyoti effulgence in the spiritual sky. Now it has gone to Brahmajyoti. In the spiritual sky also, that planet grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet. What is the highest planet? Highest planet is Golok Vrindavan. How is it? In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says, Golokanamni nijadhamni tale chatasya devi mahesha haridham shute shuteshu te te prabhava nichaya bhitascha yena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So when you look from top down, there are planets. Like in the topmost, the spiritual planet is Goloka. Then comes Ayodhya Dham, and then other Vaikuntha planets. Then comes Mahakalpur, then the Brahmajyoti, and then uh, the different 14 planetary systems. Basically, different universes are there within the Brahma Jyoti, like that. So that is top down. Now, when you go bottom up, it goes that the Bhakti Lata, it goes to the topmost planet. In the spiritual sky also, that planet grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual planet of Krishna. So this is the highest planet, Golok Vrindavan. ultimately, ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. So, it takes rest in the lotus feet of Krishna. Gradually, as a plant grows fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of Godhead. So Krishna, right in the beginning, I mean, not exactly right in the beginning, but at the end of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he's saying, but this message is kind of understood in the beginning of our devotional service, not too much in the tail end, that we need to surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharman pratyajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshvashvi masacho. Krishna is saying, surrender unto me. So therefore, this plant eventually takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and one becomes fully absorbed in love of Godhead. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being a contact with the Supreme Lord. 1 minute also one cannot stay. Always they would like to be connected with the Supreme Lord. Just as a fish cannot live without water, it will be like fish out of water if one is going to apply force. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. So when one is coming in contact with the Supreme Lord, the qualities of Lord will spill over to those devotees. Now, when you talk about contact with, means in a favorable way. Obviously, devotees would have contact with Lord in a favorable way. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. We have many, many examples of, like we have Prahlad Maharaj and Narsimhadev. We have Dhruva Maharaj and Prishnikarva, like the different incarnations of Lord has relationship with the devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees. As stated in the Bhagavatam itself, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavana Priyam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the Vaishnavas, and it is Amal Puran. This is spotless Puran. So in this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. There is nothing like dharma, artha, kama, moksha, behind which every people would run in this world. Srimad Bhagavatam is not talking about that. It is going after Pancham Purushartha, Prema Pumartha Mahan. It is not about other mundane stuffs, even to the extent of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized soul in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. So one example is given over here by Srila Prabhupada, that one young boy and young girl, they feel the um, love within them, definitely in a materialistic way, if we take the general case. And they take pleasure out of it. So similarly, in Krishna consciousness, one can derive continuous pleasure. So, thus the realized soul in Krishna consciousness take continuous pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and the girl take pleasure in association. So, Srila Rupa Goswami said, Jena tena prakarana manah Krishna devasya. By this way, that way, however you can, you should be absorbed in Krishna. So this way, that way, we should be always absorbed in Krishna. And then one can take continuous pleasure. Now, obviously, we are recommended to think of Krishna in a favorable way, not in an unfavorable way. If we do in an unfavorable way, then this is not called bhakti. Bhakti means anukullena Krishna anushilanam bhakti richat. So if you are doing um, in an unfavorable way, like Kamsa and all, Kamsa was out of fear, Jarasandha out of envy. So we need to engage in loving devotional service of Krishna. And that is very, very important for our growth in Krishna consciousness. Through that, actually, we attract the mercy of Krishna that will help us to progress in spiritual path. So with that, I'm going to pause over here for today. So let's see if there's any question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. You explained about the Bhakti Lata that penetrates through the covering of the material universe and then enters into Brahmajyoti effulgence. So, like that, after that, you explained about all the planets that are there in the uh, mm, no spiritual sky. So, my question is, Prabhuji, that does the Bhakti Lata go through all the planets and then reaches Goloka? Or it directly reaches Goloka, like the journey from the material universe through the material universe. I mean, after penetrating the material universe, can you please explain a little bit?
It is our consciousness basically. It is not like you can directly see one lata is going up there, right? We
Yes.
never see a lata is going up and up, even for 50 meters. It doesn't go vertically 50 meters. It requires some support. So here we are talking about the consciousness. Our consciousness becomes elevated, so we can go to the higher realms. Okay. So if it is staunch devotion, then one won't get distracted and one will go to Goloka directly after leaving this material world. Hmm? There may be one intermediate step where Krishna may examine the person uh, in a place where, in a universe where he is currently performing his Krishna Lila. That is different, but otherwise one would directly go to Goloka. But if somebody is kind of distracted, is doing Vaikuntha Prem, somehow going to Vaikuntha, and then after some time they may realize, oh, we are in a wrong place. Then all depends how they'll get next opportunity to go further. But best thing is to try to go to Goloka, because Golokere Prem Dhan Hari Ram Sankirtan. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us. So that way we can make ourselves eligible and go back to God. And that is Golok Vrindavan, not intermediate um, like Saket Dham or Ajudha Dham or Vaikuntha Dham like that. No, it's about Goloka, the
Yes.
highest above. Okay.
So, Prabhuji, if the soul is going to Goloka and like they first go to Vaikuntha, so is there a chance of later going to Goloka?
Usually they will go to directly to Goloka because their consciousness is developed in that way. They want to worship Radha Krishna. Immediately they will feel uncomfortable if they go to Vaikuntha because the mood is totally different. So they will go directly to Goloka because their consciousness is developed like that. Okay,
For a pure devotee.
for a pure devotee.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So any other question?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for
Okay.
explaining so
Yeah.
nicely.
Thank you, Mataji, for joining the session. So we'll continue in the next session with the 10th and 11th verse. Those are Trojana verse or the results we get by engaging in devotional service. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to pause over here for today. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada
Hare
ki
Krishna.
jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
jai.